Hello everybody, hope you all are having a great week. I know that there's been a lack of videos lately. Well, the explanation for this would actually be that I've been on vacation for 2 weeks actually. I just arrived back in Jersey on Saturday. Since then I've actually started school in addition to this, making things even more difficult to make these updates. So it gives me even less time. But this would also be why I didn't give you guys any updates on Hurricane Henri. That just made landfall in the New England area just earlier this week. But now we're actually going to move on to our next tropical system that we're looking at now. It's actually forming off the coast of Jamaica that will actually be expected to affect the Gulf Coast by early next week. There is actually some uncertainty as to the intensity and really just to really pinpoint this location here of impact at the current moment. However, high seas and increased chances for this precipitation will actually be expected at the very least. So that's going to be more of a definite there. If you actually look here at the GEFS ensemble, it actually has less of a range with its ensemble members compared to yesterday. However, these different models are actually still range from South Texas, from the South Texas coast to Florida, as you can see here. I mean the Florida Panhandle, I'm sorry. But models overall have definitely increased in agreement with regards to the current track that we're looking at, focusing on the northern Texas coast and the coast of Louisiana. Now, sea surface temperatures, if we take a look at them here, we can see that they're very warm offshore. As you can see here, that pink, if we actually zoom in here, it's actually up to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. I actually just checked, which would actually convert to 32 degrees Celsius, which means there's actually there's actually plenty of energy for the tropical system to tap in, assuming other factors permit. Although it actually is important to keep in mind that a defined area of circulation has not yet been established. This actually would mean that expectations for the system can actually change as far as the severity of it. But either way, it would still be important to really monitor the system over the next couple of days as it progresses. I mean, this is really all the more reason. And you can see it's really disorganized at the moment. There really is no definite area of circulation. Another big factor here that will be playing a part here with this tropical system, it's actually, I forgot to mention, this is actually known as Tropical Depression 9. And believe it or not, it could actually be a major hurricane as it actually approaches the Gulf Coast. Right now, it's still known as Tropical Depression 9. Of course, it's still in the Caribbean Sea, just off the coast of Jamaica. But as I've just mentioned, the system actually is forecast to grow into a strong hurricane as it really tracks into the Gulf of Mexico. And if it does soon form into a tropical storm, it'll actually be known as Tropical Storm Ida, before potentially posing a threat to the northern U.S. Gulf Coast. But anyway, as I was saying, our next factor here that'll be playing a part into potential Tropical Storm Ida, or should I say Hurricane Ida, is actually this high pressure here that are actually expected to just remain over this southeastern U.S. here over the really early in the next week, which actually may act as a steering mechanism for the tropical system and really prevent it from moving eastward. So that will really be the explanation here as to why we'll be mainly moving more northwestward. So it's actually more likely to run into the Texas and Louisiana coast, more so than the Panhandle or Florida. This isn't the only thing we're looking at here. This isn't the only impact from this high pressure system. We're also actually paying attention to this increased pressure gradient between the area of high pressure and of course this low pressure here, which is also known as a tropical system. This will actually increase this flow of moisture from the Gulf that'll really just be flooding all of this moisture into the Gulf Coast, only making conditions more variable and susceptible to more tropical behavior. This means that the U.S. Gulf Coast here will actually be expected to have an enhanced chances for precipitation as the tropical system approaches, meaning that we may get some pop-up thunderstorms before the potential hurricane even arrives, making really just the soil more saturated, making flooding even more of a threat than it already would have been prior to some of the storms we may get. But some of the good news is, if we actually fast forward here, we can see that the high pressure will eventually kind of just minimize and actually break down, which would really allow this tropical system to actually to finally move out of the area by late Tuesday into Wednesday here. If we actually just fast forward a little bit more, see there, it kind of dissipates here. It actually gets into the southern Midwest. If we actually look here, this actually does look quite threatening. This is why we're actually predicting this to possibly be a hurricane as it gets to the Gulf Coast here. This is definitely something to monitor. This may be even more of a catastrophic event than Hurricane Henri, mainly because that was a Category 1, although it is still very uncertain what kind of category this hurricane will be classified as. But I think you see it really getting a direct hit, much like Henri, where it made a direct landfall. I believe it was in around Massachusetts, off the Massachusetts coast. Really continuing to move inland from there. But the thing about that storm, it weakened very quickly. The wind speeds associated with that tropical storm. It's also something I forgot to mention. When it actually did make landfall, it already had to downgraded to a tropical storm. So as it really made landfall there, it really began to weaken very quickly. This may be a different story here, but as I said just previously, the high pressure system will also dissipate quickly, so this will actually be taking tribute to this also weakening faster rather than usual. But again, only time will tell. It is early to really tell. As I stated previously, the main threat is this tropical system in the Caribbean right now, and this is what it may look like just by this weekend and into early next week. I think so. This is actually the GFS, and it does bring it into southeastern Louisiana. This is on Sunday, but if we actually look here at the European model, we can actually see that really brings us into southeastern Louisiana by Monday. At this point in time, the only thing that really can be said with as regards to any certainty is that increased winds, rain, and higher sea state will definitely be a factor here. Impacts beyond this will actually depend on what the system really wants to do in this area. Even after the fact that any impacts will depend on where the storm actually tracks here. Like I said, really the ensembles are showing anywhere between the Texas coast to the Florida Panhandle, but if we actually narrow it down here, it's really looking like it may be southeastern Louisiana, southwestern Mississippi, really the whole Gulf Coast. So you guys really need to be prepared for this next system. Because as you can see here, I mean, you can see this low pressure system, 973 millibars here. It just looks very severe here on this on some of the models here. So it's very important. It's actually very pivotal to be stay weather aware and be prepared. We're actually seeing wind direction come from the east direction. We're actually start to see an increase really above 15 knots here. If we actually go a little further into today, some stronger winds, really kind of a stronger breeze that are actually be really in effect later today, even getting into tomorrow here. This will actually help really bring that strong tropical wave that is moving across the area and continue to increase through Saturday. But if we actually fast forward here into Sunday, I believe it was, so when it's really starting to near the coast. Winds will have actually reached over 20 knots. As you can see here, it's definitely going to be above 20 in southeastern Louisiana, where it's actually expected to make landfall. So you can see, guys, it's really it's a very serious topic here. I mean, you can see it's actually really expected to rapidly develop here over the next couple of days, even over the weekend. So this gives you ample time to actually prepare, hunker down if you are in any of these areas. This could certainly be a hurricane. So there's a very high chance of it. But it's kind of intensification. Although right now it is tropical depression, I'm sure it will upgrade to a tropical storm and then evolve possibly into a hurricane by even this weekend. So there's your update on this next system that we're monitoring closely here. I guess that'll be it for this video, or for this update, this new tropical update, I should say. And I'll try to get back to posting more frequently. Then again, school may interfere with this schedule, but I'll try to do what if I can't make a video, if I don't have enough time. If I don't have enough time to actually devote into making a video, I'll just make a post on my Instagram, which is actually weatherman_315. I do more frequent posts on there. It's not as much in detail as some of these videos are, but I still do really an overview on what you need to know on any kind of developing system or weather event across the U.S. So guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys in the next one.